tournaments where he seems to be on the roll. He's almost unstoppable. And this is one of them so far. I know that he's not gone all the way yet, but just making it as deep as he has done up to this point is super impressive. Anyway, guys, here we go with our very first best of 5 of the day. The final day of Homestory Cup 20. In the left top side, we're looking at the main base of our Korean Zerg player. It's Solar.
His opponent in the bottom right-hand corner with the red probes. Certainly the underdog in this series, but can he continue his run in this tournament? We have a Mana. A lot of fans. It's already a lot of people
I know.
tuning in right now.
It's early. Why are you guys up?
These are all the people that have been...
He said at noon. I'm like, oh, man, yeah, I guess not.
You know, a lot of the fans in this building, they just like to stay at the beach overnight as well. And it's actually quite peaceful at night, you know, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., it's very quiet.
Like
I mean, the occasional Mr. Bitter or Raynor will stroll by, but other than that, you know, you don't really hear a thing.
Yeah.
But then it's 7 a.m. and then the sun starts coming up and then a million people start invading the beach and you're like, hey.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a little more difficult to sleep.
Yeah. So, this game, Thunderbird, of course, I think it's been played in every single series so far.
Yeah. Everyone loves playing the super standard macro-focused maps. I mean, most players here anyway.
It's very, very true.
It's a good map overall.
Yeah.
Very easy to take 3 bases on, of course.
You know, for this series, I am really looking forward to seeing what type of openers and early mid-game Mana is going to commit to, because I think if he takes it slow at all, Solar is going to punish him with those Swarm Hosts and with those Niduses. He's just so strong with that style.
And this map is fantastic for it as well, right?
Yes.
I already said it before, we even knew that they played us on the bird, but if there's one map where that playstyle is still pretty damn strong, it has to be this one. I think there's a few more. It's just like, it feels a little more beatable right now. Like, it's actually like if you are doing the right things as a Protoss player, it feels like you get rewarded for it a lot more than you did in the previous patch.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree with that.
It's a little easier, I guess, to knock down the first 2, right? If you're a little bit more on point, it's just slightly more expensive. They pop out a little bit slower. And if you get the first 2, especially the first one is absolutely critical. You slow down the push so much. And once Protoss goes up to like 150 or so supply, it's
Really wants to get that Overlord, guys. And probably not going to get it.
No, I don't think so.
He's I've not seen an Overlord die in the early game in quite some time at this
Actually, yesterday it happened.
Really?
Did it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who lost it?
Azork. I mean, I don't know.
Thanks, Red.
Although, to be fair, they've been off-racing a lot.
Yeah.
Go into the pro gaming area, they're pretty much all playing like their off-race against each other.
The grass is always greener, am I right?
Yeah.
Well, an Adept and Oracle opening most likely coming up here. See if Mana ends up getting any damage done.
They love to talk about their off-race victories, by the way.
Yeah.
Raynor is like, come over here. He's like, just beat Solar with my Protoss.
That proves that Zerg is Imba,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Protoss is Imba.
Yeah.
Like, I got the sickest build, Kevin, the sickest build. If they would know, he's like, I'm in trouble, but I'm not going to tell them. I was like, it's all good, matey. It's all good.
Oh my god. I can't wait to see his Masslings later to try to upset the best game of the tournament winner.
Yeah, those guys are very good, though, in general, with all 3 races. It's always kind of funny, right? People are always discussing, like, who's the best random player in the world? And it's probably, well, any of the top-level pros whenever they play their off-race.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not quite going to be able to reach, like, say, 7k MMR, but would not be surprised if, like, Solar's Protoss is, like, 6.6 or 6.7 or something along those lines.
Scarlet, her off-races are so good.
Yeah,
Like, I actually would put my money on Scarlet. I mean, if they were forced to play all 3 races and all the different matchups, I honestly think Scarlet could win the tournament.
Yeah, I haven't seen her Zerg much, or her Terran much, but Protoss is ridiculously good.
She also bragged about a couple of TVT victories over top Korean Terran.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I believe her.
So very standard opener here from both players. We do see the double Oracle right now in transition towards the robotics facility as well as the 3rd Nexus. Solar in the meantime just playing very safe, going up towards the lair and then also the Roach Warren.
I'm a little bit confused about those 12 Zerglings that are being produced at this point. I feel like it's very unlikely those can ever get anything done. And that does still hurt a little bit.
Yeah, like maybe expecting some additional Adepts to come out or something? Not really sure what else
normally
those
make those a
Zerglings
little
can do.
earlier. I think you normally make those a little bit earlier, so he's probably just getting them just in case.
Ooh. I mean,
That was nice.
Mana got a queen, but both Oracles took a lot of damage. So he's going to have to be a little bit more careful from now on.
No shield battery at the front, maybe that's one of the reasons.
Well,
That's a lot of lanes.
Yeah, just some sentries, immortals being made, the Twilight and Forge coming. So it is a slow opener overall from Mana. He is going to be able to power up and you know, try to get into a more powerful attack later. I'm just afraid that we're about to see the Infestation Pit go down.
I feel like we kind of should, right? Otherwise,
that's how he's been playing his EVPs so far. So he kind of figures out that like, oh, you're going like Sentry Immortal. It's like a little bit slow right now. We don't really have like quick charge pressure or anything. No Archon drops. Yeah, there it is. There it is. So Solar really staying with this exact strategy. But again, like I feel like Mana had enough time to look at those games and figure out what he wants to do against that.
So do you still go Nidus Worm with this right now?
Yeah. Yeah, and especially on this map, right? Because you can throw it up like behind the minerals near the third, or you can throw it to the north of the natural, and it's like pretty hard for Protoss to go kill those.
with all the info that Mana has at this point, right? And I know that he hasn't seen the Infestation Pit, but kind of everything screams it at this point, and he's going to find it out real soon. Do you think it's worth mining out those minerals on the left side of his third base by himself?
Yeah, I
what
think
he's
so.
doing? Oh no, that was just a pylon. Yeah.
I would actually like to see it, and you can actually utilize that as your fourth base likely, and then maybe keep your flying units to the north of your natural to try to prevent any Niduses there. I think if you really give some dedicated defense in that way, you can really minimize the damage that these will do.
Well, let's see what the robotics facility will produce right after this Immortal pops, because I have the feeling that could very well be a War Prism. Knowing Mana, with all these gateways finishing up as well, Mana is often also of the idea, look at it, he's going to get the safety Void Ray that's going to try to shut down a little Nidus, but I think Mana's just going to run to the other side of the map. And I always find that risky. Like, it can work, but you're playing such a dangerous game.
Oh, this is really important, though. He does manage to find that very first Nidus Worm, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Does manage to knock it down.
Yeah, and look, he actually has a few Zealots over on that side. I really like that play. I feel like you do have to leave units out on the map to stop this, because as soon as one of these gets up, you're in trouble.
I think the Void Ray will be rallied towards that second Nidus network. It's going to be a little bit too late. But we'll see. No, he's actually going to send it to the left where he had his Zealots as well. The War Prism with the Archons, though. But I think that's just a tiny bit too late.
He can pick up a lot of Locusts, though.
Maybe he can drag some.
Oh, wow. I love the fact there's a couple of Queens here, too, actually.
The transfusions are real. Yeah, popping those Queens out very, very smart.
Yeah, this is still really good, though, for Mana, right? Like, he's slowing it down. Not quite killing it.
But look at...
I'm always a bit worried when they take that much damage on Archons, because it's like good save, but if they have no shield batteries, the first two Locust shots are going to kill two Archons, and that really hurts.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Front door is open.
Solar showed a lot of patience there as well. Like, he waited to shoot out those Locusts.
Saves both Archons, by the way, with the War Prism. Saves the Immortal there as well. Mana's doing a pretty damn good job so far in keeping his key units alive. Oh, a couple of Zerglings somehow managed to squeeze in there. And that was kind of frustrating for Mana as he ate a few more crossing balls than he should have.
He's got a lot of money in the bank right now as well. Not producing anything out of the robotics facility.
The Oracle's actually putting in a good amount of work right now. Gets rid of one of those Niduses.
Yep, that's very nice. Mana feeling super ambitious now going down his ramp. I mean, the Immortals are getting some mighty fine shots off on these roaches.
He's not producing anything out of the Robo, though. Like, he has not been producing anything out of it for like a minute now.
No, he's microing his heart out with the War Prism. I think that's why his macro is slipping a little bit. The Immortals are still surviving as well. Pretty good job, but Mana indeed does need to get on top of his Robo production real quick. For my part, he fires up another Void Ray as well. Basically just anything. Well, don't fly it into the cleave. No.
Well, he's still transfused right in between as well. Okay. So there's going to be a Spire and a Hive coming up here as well for Solar. So he's got a next step in his plan ready to go.
Mana really wants to go one more time.
But you know what? When you're sitting here defending these waves, you'll have like a good fight, and then the Locusts are back, and more units are rallying through, and the Zerg is doing whatever they want at home. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. This doesn't feel like any position where Mana can win.
Nope. Was a little too late in the Nidus. One Nidus network, and I think those fights just didn't really work out. Even though this is once again decent against the Roaches, but at this point Solar is maxed out, so he's also okay with losing a couple of Roaches, as long as he's trying to get, as long as he's getting some results and some damage done. And I think it's safe to say that he absolutely is. Once again, a couple of those Archons are super low on HP.
Okay, I was wondering where that Prism went. Yeah. Managed to send it across the map to the fourth base. Not that many workers here, though, in the grand scheme of things for Solar. He's pretty much only on 3 base separation, although, yeah, now the Prism goes down. With a couple of Zealots inside of it still as well. I mean, it is going to give Mana some breathing room, but that won't really hurt.
I mean, it was an important move. It's really too bad he lost the Prism. Making another one right now. He has Psystorm started.
There is Hive, by the way. I don't think we have a great Aspire yet.
No, not yet.
We do have a Spire and a Hive. That's one thing that the Soda probably wants to fire up. Because obviously Broodlords are still the dream against the good old Archon Immortal mix. Because this army is becoming actually quite powerful now from mana, right? And at one point, Roaches and Ravagers are simply not going to cut it anymore. Now we do have our Great Aspire on the way, mana. Without that Prism, it's so much more difficult to save these Archons. Does save one of them, but Archons are so clumsy, man.
Yeah, they really take up a lot of room right there. More Zealot harassment here at that 4th base. Actually doing some really reasonable work, but as the Locusts come down, of course, Solar is getting that counterattack damage.
I love how always there's Archons with like 7 or 8 HP, and they're still surviving and still getting shots off. These Zealots are indeed putting in a lot of work, and I'm not sure if this hatchery is going to go down. I think the Roaches will be there in time to save it. Is there another base at 9, by the way? I have some trouble seeing that. Not yet, right? Okay, actually,
yeah, he's getting one right now. So Storm just finished up here actually for mana, which makes his army way, way better. And usually when you reach like 150 or so supply, that seems to be the moment where Protoss is going to have a much easier time dealing with all of the Locust harass in particular. He's trying to go up towards the 4th base, only to bump into a whole lot of those Swarm hosts. Double Robo. He's getting up to 3 Robo right now.
Wow.
That feels a little bit too late. Does he not know about the Great Aspire at all?
Yeah, I think that is a kind of funny thing, right? Like, you're going to have 3 Robos. What are we making against Broodlords out of that Robo?
A lot of War Prisms, then.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know at all. He doesn't know about the Spire, doesn't know about the Great Aspire. He's about to see them. Like, if mana goes pedal to the metal right now, he doesn't have Blink Slugs either, right? This is Zealots with charge. If there is Blink, you know, there's always a little bit of hope as well that you can Blink underneath those Broodlords and snipe a couple like that. But it feels a little too late for those Robos. A few more Zealots are potentially going to pick off the hatchery at 9 o'clock. And that's quite nice. That's a nice little catcher.
Yeah, he's keeping busy. And, you know, with the multiple prisms coming out, that is going to allow him to kind of outmaneuver a little bit. But it seems like Solar's long game plan here is really, really strong, throwing down those extra spines and all.
Yeah, 3-base Broodlord would suck, though, but I guess he's going to be able to save his 4th base.
Yeah, big Locust Wave right now moving over towards the natural while mana is out on the map. He does see it, obviously, with this Void Ray. I think he needs to go either right now or, you know, go back, right? Like, you can't really stick around there for too long because the Broodlords are coming out already. His main anti-air right now is, I guess, Storm and then a couple of Archons.
Yeah, that's not really what you're looking for.
Those Storms are really sick. He's going to try to drop the Archons underneath the Broodlord. I mean, this shouldn't work, guys, but so far it's actually doing quite a bit of damage. Still trying to storm the hell out of these Broodlords. 2 of them have gone down already. War Prism is quite low on HP, though. Archon goes forward one more time. Guys, he's actually storming the Broodlords into oblivion. Like, all of them have gone outside.
Instead of Corrosive Vials.
Yeah, not quite, but that was a heroic effort. Wow.
You know, there was a very close game once between Neep and Nurture, where everybody thought Nurture was going to win it. It was like quarterfinals of WSG. And then he actually won a fight with Storm and Archons against the Broodlords. It wasn't quite like that. They were all a little more clumped up. So it's like, I've seen it happen once, but obviously it shouldn't happen, right? The Broodlords should be fantastic against that army. Good hustle by Mana. And I gotta say, even though Solar looked really good when it comes to his multitasking, economically, he was never really running away with that game. Like, he was obviously making a lot of units, but you're playing a dangerous game as a Zerg if you're like floating around 60 or let's say 66 workers at best. Like, one Zealot run by and suddenly you're going to work with 45 workers. And if you lose a fight at that point, it's all over.
Yeah. You know, I want to mention, I think that strategically Mana went about that the wrong way. He played towards what can work well on Thunderbird, but against Solar specifically, I think that you should not be taking your 3rd and going Robo. I think you need to either go Robo earlier, go Twilight instead, make Phoenixes, you know, any of these things that are going to allow you to be a little bit more active, a little bit more aggressive on the map. Because as soon as Solar recognizes that you're sitting back trying to build an Immortal count, Infestation Pit's coming.
Was a little bit unfortunate that that Void Ray was a tiny bit too late, right, to deny the second Nidus network. As you said as well, Loco getting the first or the second one is massive. He did get the first one with a couple of Zealots, but unfortunately the second one did go up, and then he was already forced to start defending, you know, very early on. And at that point, it's almost impossible to be spot on when it comes to your macro. He was floating a little bit of money. He was indeed not using his Robo enough as he should have. But that's difficult, right? Like, you're juggling units, you're warping in units, you're trying to control the air units as well. You don't want to lose the Oracle or the Void Rays. There's obviously only so many things a nerd can do. But I think overall, not a bad first game by Mana at all.
No, it's a slippery slope, right? Like, you make one mistake and it can very quickly spiral out of control. He didn't like lose any bases to the Locust. He didn't really, you know, take massive hits. It's just that he he took too long, I guess, cleaning it up, and eventually the Brute Lords are out, and that's just absolutely awesome against like the Archon Immortal, Zealot, Stormball that pretty much all of the Protoss mid-game goes for.
Yeah, and the production tab just gets sad, right? When you see triple Robo and the Greatest Spire is finishing up. It's
Yeah.
like, no! Like, if those are 2 Stargates right now, then maybe I still believe in a miracle. Anyway, we'll see what Game 2 has in store for us as we have loaded into Acropolis in the left up side of this beautiful map. We look at the main base of a Korean Zerg player. He's up 1-0. Give it up for Solar.
In the bottom right-hand corner, from Poland, Team Liquid's Mana. I didn't actually realize how close we are to the Polish border.
Yeah, we are pretty
It's like
close.
a half-hour away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really close by.
That's cool. Very
Alright.
short flight for Mana. Not feeling that jet lag.
Probably train,
Solar might be.
to be honest. I don't think he flew.
Could be.
So this is always nice, right? Whenever you when you play the Protoss pieces and you get to deny the natural of Zerg, it's very annoying to just have to take the third. It shouldn't be a massive deal, but obviously it just kind of throws Solar off his game plan a little bit. You have to scout so ridiculously early if you do want to get that block in, just because well, pretty much all of the Zerg players now go 16 hatchery just to make sure that they do not get that hatchery denied on the low ground. But yeah, it should not be a massive deal here, but you can open up a little bit more aggressively if you want to.
It's also just that the Zerg economy really takes a little bit longer to snowball. Like, Zerg players react differently to it, right? Some are alright with it, but I've known a couple of Zergs that get legitimately super tilted. And on ladder, they might even leave, you know? And I'm talking about guys that do take the MMR seriously and are quite good. It's just because every drone that hatches in the main base, you know, it's going to take 3-4 seconds longer before that drone starts mining, where it's supposed to mine normally. And those things, they do really start adding up. On top of that, they're going to be a lot more exposed while they're bouncing around between those 2 bases. So I think it's really hard to put in words how good it is exactly. But I know certain Protoss players, they'll have a little like yes moment if they can get that hatchery block up in the beginning.
I personally really dislike it if I have to take the third base just because of the Zergling production. Because if the first or like the second adept comes across the map, how many links do you produce? Normally you produce like 4, maybe 6. But right now, since you don't have Zergling speed until much, much later, you're in this awkward spot where you kind of have to make Zerglings on both ends, or you have to go for like an extra queen a little bit faster. It gets really awkward, and yeah, on top of that mining time that you lose, there's like small little advantages here, and it's a good start here for sure for Mana.
So much harder to split against those adepts. You're certainly right about that. But Mana doesn't seem to be trying to abuse that. He's actually just going directly into Stalker, so no second adept. Obviously, the first can be a little bit annoying, but not nearly as bad. Stargate, of course, on the way. You know, other than the hatchery block, pretty normal stuff.
We'll see if this adept can find an exposed drone somewhere. That'd be very nice, a little feel-good moment. There are a couple of crazy Protosses out there that just shade their first adept straight into the main base, stuck in between mineral patches.
Yeah.
And some of them actually, like, they seem to always get 2 or 3 drones. I'm like, how does that even happen?
I
Like,
know.
probably could have had at least one there. But
Yeah, only
you
2
don't-
lanes. I mean, you go in between those mineral patches, you can kill a couple.
Yep. I mean, obviously, you know, the ball is in the Zerg's corner, because technically there should be enough micro potential in preventing one adept from killing multiple drones. But, you know, drones can be annoying as well, right? They can suddenly stand on top of each other, and you obviously need to morph them into spores or just send them away very quickly. We do have Phoenix production, by the way, guys. Second Phoenix is already on the way. I like it.
I know you do.
it's interesting to me how Solar does not decide to go for the Overlord speed. We've seen a lot of the other top-level Zerg players favor Overlord speed pretty early on. He doesn't actually know exactly what he's going up against right now, so mostly just blindly making the Spore Crawler. He would have already seen the Oracle, so I guess it's a good tell here that it could be either DTs.
Second Stargate, let's go!
Okay, what are you thinking about right now, Roddy?
I'm thinking about a lot of Phoenixes and +1 air weapons.
Yeah, I was going to say the +1 air weapons. It's the first thing you bring up whenever there's a second Stargate.
Yeah, but like it hurts me so much when I see like 7 or 8 Phoenix and they don't get +1, then I'm just like, ah, that makes such a big difference.
Certainly worth more than a Phoenix at that point.
Yeah.
Well, this is exciting because I think specifically against the way that Solar is playing, this is actually quite a strong strategy.
Yep. I mean, if Solar would play the exact same way as he did last game, and if he's not 100% sure what he's going up against, and he fires up 7 or 8 roaches, that's really going to hurt his economy.
Well, that's the point where you actually get the advantage. If they actually commit to 7 or 8 roaches and those things pop, and then they see that you have all the Phoenixes, that is a head shake moment for Zerg.
You know, it's actually good that he's keeping them safe or hidden for now. He's going to go for the double chrono. Let's see if Solar actually does end up making roaches. Doesn't have that much free supply. Like, ideally, if you're Mana, you want to hide this just a little bit longer.
Oh, and look at this. He sees these Adepts. So, you know, there is a lot of misinformation right now. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on here as Solar.
No third base yet for Protoss either, right? That's a big tell. Normally it goes up about 5 minutes into the game.
Quite a few queens have been produced, though. A couple of roaches have been forced out, but not that many. Solar seems to have a pretty good idea of what he's actually going up against.
Those queens are exposed, though, right now.
Yeah, but I don't think you can fight it with only this amount of phoenixes.
Need +1.
Yes. Don't want to be that guy, Loco. But
You are that guy, Roddy. Bodybuild a bunch of times.
No problem. All right, so starting this harassment, not the best start to the harassment for these, but
oh,
four
that's one.
drones, it's not nothing.
I know, that's one. That's minus 2 Phoenix, guys.
It's a little bit rough.
Oh, careful. Yeah, that really didn't work out. 2 Phoenixes going down for only 4 drones. Now he makes +2 air weapons after he loses 2 Phoenix. No.
How do you feel about the Spire counter? We've seen this a little bit with the Corruptors.
Guys,
Yeah, I think so.
is he going to make Void Race? Is he going to make some...
He might.
Some Flux Veins?
Because, I mean, if you do counter this with Corruptors, which is somewhat popular...
What's faster, a Corruptor or a Flux Veins?
Oh, Flux Veins Void Ray by times for sure, yeah.
I know they are quick. I
mean,
think they're about as fast, but
The Corruptors are pretty quick, but...
wouldn't be surprised if it's the same number.
This carrier for now, but if we do see a bunch of Corruptors going out, then there is a very good chance that we do see a couple of Void Rays being produced as well. This is an excellent scout, by the way, for Solar. So it's the first time he makes it into the main base, but he sees the world.
So one thing we did see earlier on in this tournament is Zest play a pretty similar approach where he basically just tries to max out on a really, really strong Protoss army. It takes about 20 minutes, but once you get there, it's extremely difficult for the Zerg player to deal with, since obviously the Infested Terran is no longer a thing.
There it is, guys. We're getting a little Flux Veins as well. I mean, I love carrier builds, and I think especially in dispatch, they are going to be very, very powerful. Mana has been quite far behind economically, just because the Phoenix phase didn't really work out right. Let's be honest, 4 drones with 2 Phoenixes going down, that's simply not good enough. But we'll see if he can turn it around.
So do we have a mind game here, just real quick? I feel like he's going to go into Voids after just 2, because it gets... You have your Phoenixes, right?
Yeah.
And then they scout that you're going carrier. Obviously, you want to make Corruptors against that. But if you can get them to make Corruptors here and you just go into Flux Vein Void Rays, I mean, you're destroying, right?
Yeah, Corruptors absolutely melt. That's a lot of energy, by the way, for one Overlord.
Like, look at this. He's about to have 3... Well, he's making some carriers still, so maybe not exactly that.
Mana is catching up economically as well. I think you're going to go for a mix. You don't want to go pure carrier here, because then they are sitting ducks, right, against the first 12 to 14 Corruptors. So adding in a couple of safety Void Rays I think is really good. Even the Phoenixes are going to help out a little bit against Corruptors as well, if you have an air upgrade advantage. And +1 is about to finish up. You guys think he's going to go +2 immediately?
I hope so.
Yes, you have to. I mean, you're going 3 Stargate units.
There it is.
Those attack upgrades, I mean... As much.
I don't really like the +1 main.
Oh, this is a bad fight for Corruptors, by the way. It's like, all right, wrong neighborhood. Let's get out of here.
I think this hurts quite a bit, though, for Zerg. Like, what exactly are you going to do? He's going for +1 melee. He's going into bailing speed here as well, which is all fun. But you're not really going to break a Protoss player like this unless you go absolutely all in and you focus on tons of Zerglings, Roaches, and Ravagers.
Yeah.
Yep.
The 4th base is really critical, by the way, for Protoss here.
I mean, like, Lings and Banes can be very effective against Skytools, as silly as it sounds, because you just keep overrunning their economy over and over again. Big problem is that eventually Mana might get multiple cannons, multiple shield batteries, and if the air fleet keeps growing, then you can actually just leave a carrier or 2 behind as well to defend against those Baning run-bys.
Yeah, once the Mothership is out and all that, it gets very difficult to push into a Protoss. It's fortified on the 4th base, so he does need to go pretty soon if he wants to. A +1 melee is finishing up in 10 seconds. So this would be a pretty good moment for him to go in. Just simply delaying the 4th is massive, though, because Protoss needs all the gas they can get, and I think he will.
Oh, absolutely. If you play 3 Stargate carrier, getting upgrades as well, you want to go up to 4 bases, so that's a good cancel. These Corruptors really want to get a Void Ray. They will get a Void Ray. Corrosive Bow doesn't really connect. Good micro there in the end by Mana. And a couple of Corruptors do go down. You know, I actually feel that the moment that +2 is out, don't you guys think that Mana can just go for a little fight?
Yeah, he might be able to if he keeps these units alive, continues to chrono boost everything. Like, his army is getting very, very scary.
I feel like it's better for him to sit back, to be honest, right? Like, just try and secure the 4th base. Maybe push as, like, a way to buy time for the 4th to finish.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a good call, because if he does move out, he is going to lose his 4th base again. I am starting to get a little bit worried about the combination of some Vipers being added, though, because Solar has been a lot richer, and Corruptors and Vipers together, they're going to do very well against these Void Rays.
Here we go. Flux Veins coming into play again. Need to try and save those units. The fourth base, though, once again in trouble. And yeah, while the Stargate production will continue for now, the fourth base once again gets killed.
That was a great move from Solar. Seriously, like to dive on there, it's definitely worth losing 2-3 Corruptors to cancel that fourth.
But what I think Mana should have done is just leave the carriers behind, right? Like, if all of the Corruptors in the main base, there's no reason for the carriers to go back to the main base as well. They could have just chilled at the fourth base. These
Void
Corruptors.
Race chasing Corruptors is a weird sight.
Yeah.
Oh, this one hurt, guys. That's -2 Void Race very quickly. A carrier takes a lot of damage as well. Will go down. No prismatic alignment is activated. And these Corruptors are forced to disengage. But those pickoffs, those are the ones that truly matter the most, right? You get 2 Void Rays and a carrier while you're denying the fourth base. Yeah, that's some really slick play by Solar.
So in a couple minutes from now, the main gases will run out of mana. And Mana really needs to get as much gas as possible to build up to that ultimate Protoss Death Ball. And that's the reason why the fourth base denial is so massive, right? Like, still, we're on 3 base here for Protoss. We're 11 minutes into the game. Solar has been happily mining off of, well, whatever he likes. There's been absolutely no counter pressure whatsoever.
And we don't really have a lot of cannons, right? We don't really have a lot of batteries. So this really opens the door for Zerglings with Adreno and +2 as well to start doing some very serious damage. I mean, this base is so exposed.
3 carriers once again coming up now. And those upgrades with Protoss are starting to become really, really good. Like, all interceptors.
Oh, this could be nice, guys. A couple of Phoenixes randomly find the Vipers. There's one Queen that's going to save the day for now. That would have been a really funny pickoff.
See, that's why you don't want to inject first. That's why I don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the reason.
That's why.
I do think it's really sick that he's getting like +3 already. That's more than halfway done. I actually think, like, if you would get a couple of cannons, right, or you leave a few units behind and you attack with 180 supply while you have +3 air weapons, I think it's a winnable game for Mana.
Here we go, though. The Baneling's ready to roll in. Probably looking for that mineral line. In the meantime, there's also a big push over at the fourth base, but this time around, it looks like it will stay alive. The question is, will the third base as well? Should be defendable, although there's a ton of Banelings on the back of that.
That many Banelings, I mean.
Well, the Void Rays are going to show up. The carrier's going to help out a little bit as well. I would kind of settle for the Nexus here if I was Solar.
Yeah, I definitely agree with
Oh,
that.
he wants to get both Nexus at the same time. Was there a Parasitic Bomb? Yes, there is. Oh, these carriers taking a lot
Wait, the
of
third
damage.
lives?
Third lives?
Where did the Zerglings go?
He didn't even lose that many probes, to be honest.
Oh, the Zerglings are just up there?
Yeah, he misclicked, I think.
Oh.
Wait, why did that Parasitic Bomb not do more damage? I guess carriers just have
100.
that much HP, am I right?
They were over the shield batteries as well.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. Oh, Mana has been dropping quite a bit of supply. Once again, the Void Rays, because they are so fast, they just seem to get a little ahead of the party. Banelings are going to roll into the natural as well. That's a lot of clumped up probes.
And all of a sudden, it's starting to look very grim here for Mana. He's out on the map fighting a ton of Corruptors. Queen's transfusing the Corruptors as well that are busy target firing down whatever they can. Normally, Corruptors versus Void Rays is not great, but right now, Solar is everywhere.
Right before +3 as well, right? That's kind of sad. I'm not sure if that would have really made a difference there, because the Corruptor count is high, but that does really add up with carriers and Void Rays. GG! Solar will take the 2-0 lead. And you got to give it to Solar. I think he just played better in a lot of these little skirmishes. You can see him getting the Void Rays, getting the Void Ray, denying the base once again, going for a little distraction run by, and just creating a bigger and bigger advantage for himself. And he knew that he was facing a potentially very scary army.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm not going to let you get there. I think he played awesome.
I think
Just
Mana,
denying the fourth is huge.
Yeah, over and over. So definitely I would agree that Solar way outplayed Mana there, but I think strategically Mana's on a much better path than game number 1 now.
Oh, I do agree with it.
With this type of play, I think that this series is still winnable.
And don't forget that he also had a kind of unfortunate start, right? The Phoenixes just didn't really work out at all. If you open up double Stargate Phoenix and you lose 2 Phoenix for only 4 drones, like, that's a disaster. There's no other way to put it. We see so many games with double Stargate where a Zerg ends up losing 10, 12 drones, an Overlord or 3, a Queen, and then we're always like, oh my god, it's 0 resources lost against like 7. Right, that happens. So this was obviously a very rough start, but he still turned it into a pretty competitive game.
Oh, certainly he did. What's our third map coming up here?
I'm going to let you know.
Disco?
Disco.
It is a disco.
All right, Disco Bloodbath.
You think this is what he's going to do for the rest of the series? Because, I mean, it seemed like in game 1, if he sits back for too long and he goes for like the mid-game style, he will just likely just get outplayed in the Archon Immortal Zealot Bowl that generally speaking Protoss does go for.
Yeah.
I feel like turtling and sitting back and just trying to go up to that maxed out Death Bowl is probably the best approach here for him.
It's definitely a reasonable approach. I would say that he kind of got a little bit out multitasked there. He wasn't splitting his units quite right. I think you were quite right, Roddy, to say that he should have left his carriers to defend the fourth base, and maybe he can clear everything. But Losing that game, you have to also feel like you were outplayed.
Yeah, that's also.
So you might look at that and say, oh, maybe he's just better in this type of game than me. Maybe I should switch it up again.
Yeah, like it may not look that impressive the way that Solo was playing, where he's just like running around. But the fact that he's taxing mana so much that he can pick off a free Void Ray over and over again, and once in a blue moon getting the occasional free carrier as well, I feel like he never truly overextended with the Corruptors, and that's really impressive, right? Because there's so many moments where the Corruptors are like, yeah, we could take this fight, and then like all of the Interceptors suddenly out, the Void Rays charge up is like, and then they retreat, but then the Interceptors chase, and you get like 5 more Corruptors. Solo did a very, very good job in judging which fights he could take and which fights he couldn't take, and then being able to find the stray Void Ray that was out there by himself. Just very well done. You got to give kudos there.
Yeah, by the way, these new speed Void Rays definitely making this more interesting against the Corruptors.
Yep. Also makes splitting a lot easier, by the way, against Parasitic Bomb. Like one of the biggest things that I hated about Void Rays is that they're slow and they clump up. And now because they're so fast, it's actually a lot easier to split them up.
I think actually he would have also lost the Stargates in the main base if it wasn't for Flux Veins, because he was
Yeah.
out at
Oh,
the third
absolutely.
base.
No, 100% mate.
Raptors came in. That's really nice.
Very cool stuff.
Well, Mana's had a great run so far, but he's down 0-2 at this point. Obviously, we are in the lower bracket, so this could be it. Hopefully, we get a few more games out of this nerd, because he has played a fantastic tournament. For now, we're looking at the man who's trying to end his run. On the left top side, our Korean Zerg. He's playing great as well, of course. It is Solar. But we knew that he was going to be good.
In the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the Protoss pieces from Poland, we have a Mana. Does not really look phased whatsoever.
No,
Always looks very,
He's
very
a
stable.
consummate pro. I mean, you know, he's not someone who really panics or anything. He's been in this situation countless times. Hoping that he can start to pull it back a little bit.
I wonder what he wants to go for here, though.
Huh. He went gas first, but also probe scout.
Not sure if he's potentially worried about Solar doing something crazy on this map. Maybe he has
Yeah.
seen it before.
Like 13-12 or 12 pools or something like that.
Yeah.
13-12 would be super extreme.
Yeah.
I never really mind the occasional 12 pool opening that much, right? It's like,
It's good to mix it in
Yep.
just every now and then.
yep, especially, I mean, if you get lucky and they don't scout, then you can just pick up a free win almost immediately.
Yeah.
But even if they do scout it very quickly, you're still going to force out that second gate, that wall up. There's that awkward little dance with the Zealot and the choke point. And if Protoss players are either like not on the money or they're a bit nervous, one misclick and those Zerglings can suddenly deal a lot of damage. So I really don't hate the 12 pool opening, but if you go with gas as well, yeah, then it becomes pretty damn all in immediately.
How do you feel, maybe not necessarily in this game, but in general, about Nexus first? Because we don't see it that often, but I know you'd like to play it.
Yep. I mean, the reason why the pros don't like it, and I can get behind that, is that they feel their tech is simply too late. And if their tech is too late, they feel like their mid-game aggression arrives too late and they can't force out the right amount of units. Because obviously, as a Zerg, you can do two things against Nexus first. You can either think like, I should kill this immediately because it's really greedy. Most of the time that doesn't work because that's the Jabate. But the Zergs and these Zergs, they would absolutely do that, right?
Yeah.
If you go Nexus first against Solar, Solar's like, all right, 4 minutes of peace. Thank you very much, you know.
Yeah.
Let me know when I need to make my first Zerglings, but I've got Overlord chilling as well, so I like it, but I understand why the pros feel like it's not optimal for them.
Well, you know, I think it is optimal to, again, occasionally mix it in, just like a 12 pool. If you're not mixing in the strats, you become a bit more predictable.
Oh, there's a
Twilight
Bangling
Robo.
Nest, guys. That's a pretty early Bangling Nest.
Did he see anything
That's a
weird in
lot
the wall?
of Zerglings as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything odd in the wall of Protoss? No.
Well, it's very wide open at this
Yeah,
point.
right now. Should be able to fill that, right? With one additional 3x3.
He should be throwing up a Dark Shrine, right? So this
Yeah.
could turn into a very, very scrappy game if Mana holds the first row of
But how is he going to
Bangling
see
Nests.
this? How is he going to see this coming?
Yeah, no, it's a little bit tough. He does have an Adept about to pop out.
Oh.
There is that Dark Shrine.
There's no lair, though. Like, there's no lair, obviously, here for
Oh.
Solar, so
Yeah.
you won't have any scouting or detection.
Okay, if the Adepts see it, this could get interesting. Obviously,
Yeah.
Stalkers are great against Bailing Boss. If there is a shield battery now, that'd be so massive, but he just doesn't know yet, guys. So there is not going to be a shield battery just yet. I'm
6
kind of...
Banelings coming up already.
Yep, there's a lot of Zerglings out as well. I'm
Oh,
not sure if
man.
the Adepts saw anything.
Well, I mean, the Stalker is very, very hard to bust in this situation.
I'm afraid the gate is going to go down.
Yeah, he can probably hit the Stalker and then attack the gateway at
no.
the same time right between. His
needs
Zerglings actually may already be enough. I mean, he's going to try and shield it again with, like, another structure
Oh
here,
my goodness.
which is nice and all, but that means that the pylon now is exposed.
Yeah.
All the veins in there.
Oh, man, just this is falling apart, and that's it.